huge. Look at these guys. And these are the little tomatoes that I started in the house. And now they're massive. Look at all my peppers. I need to weed them. And these are the ground cherries. I should plant those up. Yeah, everything grew a ton while I was in Mexico. All of this is fennel that I've been trying to get rid of, and it keeps coming back. This is borage that I actually planted. That is lovage, it just comes back every year. And there's a few snapdragons right there. Some blue flowers, I'm not sure what those are. This is all thyme that I planted. Oh, this looks like maybe some bee balm. I don't know, I've planted a lot of perennial flowers in this corner. There's more borage. And then all of those yellow flowers are either broccoli or turnips or cabbages. They're all from the same family. They're all Brassica oleracea, and when they go to flower, they all look the same. Let's see. Oh, down there's a little yellow pansy that came back from somewhere. And let's see. Those look like maybe radish flowers. They could also be arugula. They look very similar. All of these things, I think most of them were turnips. They tend to reseed themselves. These are definitely arugula flowers. And all of these flowers are edible. They're actually really nice in salads, but I've just been letting them just be on their own because the bees really love them. So I bought myself an Akebia quinnata, aka chocolate vine. Apparently it is a vigorous grower, and it grows these weird little purple pods that are edible. It also has pretty purple flowers. It does come in white as well, but I got the purple one because I think the flowers are prettier. And I'm going to plant it in this weird corner. I built this little teepee thing like 3 years ago. I was planning to grow beans on it, and beans never want to grow in this corner. I don't think it gets enough water or something. But I'm going to plant this vine kind of in the back corner so it can grow on the teepee in the back of the fence. And hopefully it will make me some chocolate pods, but at the very least, it will fill in the barren corner.
This year, the finches once again nested in the flowering baskets at work.
Little finch, are you lost? The little babies from in the nest. You want to go outside, buddy? You want to go outside. Oh, the other way. No, not that way, you silly. Oh dear. So close, but so far. Go on. Oh, I know. I'm helping, I promise. There! Poor little finch. So at my job at the nursery, I do a lot of different things day to day, just depending on what needs to be done. Watering, pruning plants, putting them away, helping customers select plants. And today, my job is to pick sunflowers. The owner's wife has a cut flower garden, which is looking beautiful, and she's out of town, so it is my responsibility to harvest the sunflowers, and it makes me so happy.
This year I discovered the linden tree for the first time, and I'd heard about them and how sweet they smell and how you can make tea out of them, out of the blossoms, and it's lovely and it's calming, and I'd never actually seen one up close until the other night when I was at a concert and there was one blooming there. And I just found one at work and it's all in bloom. And they're just so beautiful. It's just a tree that I have never paid attention to before, and now I'm absolutely in love. Today, I ran a race in the mud. It was like an obstacle course race. It's the first time I have run since I messed up my knee in the skiing accident a couple years ago, and it went really well. And we got absolutely covered in mud. And now I am very tired, and so I set up this hammock in my yard, and my responsibilities now consist of watching birds and looking at that view. I'm so happy it's spring. It's lovely. The weather is beautiful. And it is time to get to work in my garden. The garden has been successfully weed-eated. Yeah, I should never leave in spring again. This was way worse than last year. So I think what I'm gonna do from here is I'm going to I need to fire up the lawnmower and I need to mow my actual lawn because it's very long. I will mow the garden too. And then I need to empty the composter, and then I need to get the little tiller and till it. And then we can start to plant. So it's like step 1 of 4. But at least you can see the garden now. You can actually see its dimensions. Also, I'm expanding the annex this year, so I need to weed eat that, but this is enough of a project for one day. So my garden annex actually does have plants in it. They've just been buried in the forest. And so now that I have the garden weed eated, I'm going to fish all of the pots out of this section, and then I can actually weed eat in here, and then I'm going to expand it out. But first we have to rescue everything from the forest. Okay, I've done it. I have cleaned out the annex. Ta-da! All those pots that were in here, now they're over there. They will stay there until I get the annex cleaned out, and then can move them all back again. I did it. I finished the annex expansion. So the garden now goes from all the way over there to all the way over here. And this is the gate. And then this whole area is fenced, and I have moved the alive potted things into here, and I'm actually going to set up a little sprinkler with a timer so they'll get watered. And I still need to drop a map and kind of figure out where I'm going to put things. But tentatively, I have this wire here, and that's going to be trellising for cucumbers. And then I will put another one across, so there'll be like a cucumber tunnel. And then the rest of the flowers and things will be along the edges. I haven't worked it all out yet, but at least the outer fence is done. Can you hear them? It's like big fat bumblebees, but there's also honeybees. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a locust. It is pretty, and it is full of bees.
Yeah, that's something that people don't think about when they want to plant like pollinator gardens and stuff. It's like you can plant a lot of, you know, wildflowers. That's really nice. But like, all the flowers in one tree. I emptied my composter out here yesterday, so now I just have to grind it in. And I'll finally get some plants in the ground. Last week I planted these squash and nasturtiums, and I also threw out radish seeds. And look at this! Look at all these radish sprouts. And I've got weeds coming up too, but so far so good. And there's a little patch of something that's sprouting here. I don't know what that is. Mystery plant. And then over here, I spread soil and I planted beets. And there's a few just starting to come up. Little teeny tiny sprouts. These are some gomphrena I was gifted from work. They're just a cute little cut flower, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant those out here too. Well, I did it. Got all the cucumbers planted. Some of them are overplanted, but that is okay. We'll just have a lot of cucumbers. They might not do as well, but I have a whole lot of them that need to be planted and not a lot of space, so they're just gonna have to work together. Well, I thought I was done planting tomatoes, but then we had to toss a bunch of tomatoes at work because they're too old and didn't sell, and they had some cool varieties that I don't have. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant them. I'm just gonna have my tomatoes overplanted. So because these are so tall and I don't wanna dig a hole this deep, I'm actually going to plant them sideways. So I'm going to trench and plant them, and then theoretically they will stand themselves up, but they'll root out all along the stalk, and then they will form a better root structure and perform better, hopefully. Also, it means I don't have to dig as deep of a hole, so we'll see how that goes. And there we go. So I got all the tomatoes planted in, and then I spread a bunch of soil builder, which is just an amendment that helps the clay be less clayey. And now the whole garden is planted. Of course, it is already full of weeds, but yeah, so far so good. I've got some various sprouts coming up that I've interplanted. Got a bunch of radishes in amongst my squash. And that is the essence of the Chaos Garden, just a little bit of everything. Well, it has been a few weeks since I've gotten everything planted, and the Chaos Garden is indeed living up to its name. So in this bed, I planted beets. Yeah, that's a broccoli, and that's some kind of a squash. That's tomatillo. That's a dandelion. There are indeed some beets out here, but I once again am a prolific tomatillo farmer. They're absolutely everywhere. And this is some chicory, and yeah, as we go down, there are things that I planted that are doing well, and they are all just being swallowed by tomatillos, and a lot of random squash. So my peppers are getting big and making peppers. That's exciting. Down here in the land of the tomatoes, some of the tomatoes that I planted sideways are starting to turn and come up a little bit, so that's good. I have my potato patch once again, which I forget to dig every year. That is a marigold that I planted from seed, and it is now huge. It really likes being in the ground. These are tomatoes that were actually pretty good size when I put them in. They're looking good. And yeah, just tomatillos absolutely everywhere. Over here, I have some ground cherries that I planted that are starting to spread out and make some little ground cherries. I have more of those planted in pots. Oh, look, one of them's ripe. Yay! I've got sunflowers. The sunflowers I transplanted are getting nice and big, so we needed a cage. But I also have a lot of random sunflowers that came up on their own, kind of in this area, so that works too. And I've got nasturtiums. My squash are getting bigger. My radishes are looking good. And over here, I even have a nasturtium that is bloomed. The one's just dying off. And then in the random perennial flower corner, I've got lots of bits of things. My echinacea are blooming. Look at them. I love them. I love the echinacea. And my nice little amaranth. So yeah, my vine is climbing away. He's making new growth. So that's the akebia vine. It's doing well. Out in the annex, we still have some flats of odds and ends things that I'll probably stick in here and there as there is space. But everything else, my tomatoes are looking a little bit better since I fertilized them. And my cucumbers are also greening up. I had to put these tomato cages across them because my cats kept trying to dig them up. So that's why I've got those there for protection. And I threw in some little like lettuce seeds and spinach seeds, with the cucumbers because they like to be shaded, and that's a little bit of arugula. And these are some volunteer cucumbers that just popped up in the pot with the cucumbers. So, we'll let them live. My strawberries are making strawberries, and my beans are coming up. Look at all those beans. I'm gonna train them to climb the fence. And then I had one lonely butternut squash in here, so I got a couple more from work that were being tossed out, and now he has friends. And these are more ground cherries, so I'm doing some ground cherries in pots and some in the ground, just to see how they do. And that is it. That is the Chaos Garden planted in for this year. Thank you so much for watching and coming along on this adventure of taming the Chaos Garden and expanding the annex. And I will do another video in about a month and show you how much everything has grown. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.